and foremost, I just want to communicate how grateful I am to be in a position where I get asked to be on one of these calls. There are so many amazing people that work at this company. And I remember like 3 years ago jumping on these calls and watching people and taking notes. Like I still have a pen and paper right now. I've got the same setup that I had when I started for the most part. And I'm still eager to learn. But I will tell you, if you're somebody that, is just starting out or you're jumping on one of these calls for the first time, in the matter of 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 36 months, whatever it is, however long it takes you, you can end up being on one of these calls and running one of these calls. And it's a pretty profound experience. And I just want to highlight that because when you join this business, you watch all these people that are crushing it. There's, agencies doing 2, 3, 4, $5 million a month. And you're like, how do I even write 20, 30, $40,000 in a month? Right. Like first things first, how do I get there? And I don't know about you guys. I can only speak for myself. But when I got on one of my first calls for this, I knew I wanted to build an agency, but I was broke. I will be transparent and say I was also broken. I was not on a winning streak. Like I sold my business and got into this industry, and I didn't do that because I was crushing it, right? So I started at Family First Life and I was not on a winning streak. But the main thing I want to remind you is if you show up consistently day in and day out, whether it's good, whether it's amazing, whether it's horrible, whether you haven't had a sale in 2 weeks, whether you just had the biggest week that you've ever had, whatever it is, if you consistently can show up and bring good energy and have a solutions-based attitude, one, you're going to be successful. Two, people are going to want to work with you, right? Like if you bring really good energy into this business and you're an optimist, like I was laughing with somebody the other day and they're like, dude, you're so delusional. But I'm like, I've had to be delusional the majority of my life because it's been an uphill battle. And when you're getting into this business, especially the first year, if you watch the statistics of the life insurance industry and how many people actually make it a year, dude, it's an uphill battle if we're being transparent. But how do you make yourself the person that sticks it out a year? How do you make it to where you're the guy that makes it 9 months and you start getting the back end commissions of the sales that you made 9 months ago that everyone forgets about? Right? How do you start building a team and taking yourself more seriously and accountable to set the tone where people just naturally want to work with you? Right? My whole thing is attraction rather than promotion. And when I started in this business, it was straight promotion because I didn't really have anything going for me that was going to attract anybody. I was broken, disgusted. Like it was not Lambos, penthouses, and sunshine. It was very dark, depressing, and I was like, man, I really hope that God helps me out with this situation because I really need a winning streak. But wherever you're at in the business, whatever you have going on in your personal life, professional life, anything's possible. And not to get too like woo woo or sappy, but when I think about this business and this opportunity that we have at hand, it saved my life, right? First and foremost. Like we're gonna go into some stuff and I'm gonna go over and explain how I build. And nothing I do is perfect and I have a lot to learn. But first and foremost, I do want to communicate. If you take this opportunity very seriously, it can change your life. It's changed every single area of my life. Like there's the things that are financially related. I got a cool car, got a cool place, stuff like that. Things like that don't really matter, but make you feel good as a man, right? You got a little bucket list. Hey, I want to get a Lambo. I want to live in a penthouse. I want to do stuff like that. I check some of that stuff off and it's cool, but it really doesn't matter. The stuff that matters is like the relationships I have with everybody in my family and my friends have improved dramatically. I put myself in a position to be able to help and support people if you know what hits the fan, to be able to be a pillar in my family when previously I was probably one of the most unreliable people. And this business combined with sobriety and taking my life really seriously has given me the runway to be able to take off and do that. So I'm always going to be overly transparent. But I think everybody has stuff going on. Everybody has things holding them back. And one thing I'm going to challenge you guys to do after this call is if it pops up in your head while we're talking or while we're going through this, we all have probably 3, 4, 5 things that we've been putting off for a while, whether it's personal production related, personal life, building a team, posting on social media, whatever it is, we all have multiple different things that pop up in our brain, probably multiple times a day that we do not follow through with. But I challenge you while we're on this call to make a list of those things. And over the next 7 days, at least execute 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And I would love to hear back from you. Hey, I got this done. Hey, I got this done. Like, let's start stacking some wins and stop being stagnant, right? Like, I lived most of my life in fear, and I chose not to do that in this business anymore. So if you complete something like that, I'm going to drop my Instagram in the chat. Send me a message with what you guys finish, because that's what I'm trying to promote with this. Like, let's get out of our comfort zone. Let's do the things that we're afraid of doing or that we don't want to do. But first and foremost, I'm not a guy that has a, $3, $4, $5, $6 million a month agency, but a couple things I do know. I am extremely consistent. I'm pretty darn profitable. My agency is super wide, and for lack of better terms, I work my ass off 6 days a week, if not 7 every single week, and I strive to be the best person I can be while uplifting other people to do the same thing, which that last part is the best part of my life, right? If it's all about you, how do I make money? How do I get more successful? There seems to be an issue with the domain to join this call this morning. I've had a couple people say that as well. If anybody's having that issue, I might have them pull up the domain in an incognito window, and it might work a little bit better. And Zach just dropped the Zoom link on there as well too. But back to where I was. I'm not the guy that has, a $5 million a month agency, and I have a lot to learn myself. But I think there's a couple things that I can't even say I do well. I would say my team does well, because that's what this entire thing is about. Like, we're talking about building a business, building an agency that involves other people. And it's like, I'm on this call, the spotlight is currently on me, but it's funny because I'm a very small portion of what we're talking about. Like, I credit to everything that we have going on to the people on my team. I've been really good at putting the right people that are way better at things that I'm horrible at in the same room, on the same Zoom, that want to make shit happen together. And I think that's one of the few talents that I have. But with building an agency, I want to see a couple hands raised real quick. I want to kind of get some metrics. How many of you guys at least post on your story every single day on Instagram? I'm scrolling through here. I don't see a lot of people doing that. Just starting to. Not a lot of hands raised. Okay. Here's the next question. How many of you guys want to build an extremely profitable life insurance agency and have passive income? Okay. Every single person's hand just went up. And that makes sense because you guys are on this call. So with that being said, while we're on this call, do you see the incongruencies right out the gate? I want you to think about that, right? Like, if you're jumping on these calls and you're spending the time to develop yourself and get feedback from other people, and you're like, hey man, I want to build a life insurance brokerage. I want passive income. I want to lead people. I want to make it happen, but you're unwilling to post on social media, whether you have 50 followers or 500,000. First and foremost, that's something I want to communicate about. You could have 50 followers and post every day consistently for a year and have 20,000, 200,000, 300,000, 6,000, whatever it is. And sometimes the more followers you have, it does not, I'm going to try not to cuss. Sorry, Zach. It does not mean shit, because when you have a target market, if you have many people that follow you in the industry because you're consistent, you're accountable, you show up, you set the tone, and you provide a vehicle for other people, if you're consistently promoting that while promoting yourself and your brand, it's going to be hard for people not to find you. And that's where that whole attraction rather than promotion thing comes in. So if you're on this call and you're talking about, hey, I want to build an agency, dude, I don't care whether you're 20 years old or you're 65, you're going to resonate with somebody. And if you're sitting here worried about what people are going to think about you on social media, I get it. It's scary, but can you guys drop in the chat if you can think of any better free form of marketing to be able to highlight your qualities, your business, what you do. Please let me know in the chat, because if you got it, I will legitimately start using it today. But if you can you think of anything better than social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, anything like that to promote yourself? I can't. So to reiterate one more time, because my biggest goal for this isn't for you guys to like me or think I'm awesome, but it's to hopefully provide value and change. For all you people that raise your hand, hey, I want to grow an agency, but you don't post on social media, can we change that today? Like, we have one of the best vehicles in the United States. If people are motivated, they want to make money, they're solutions-based thinkers, and they're hustlers, we have literally one of, if not the best opportunities in the United States to make money and change your life. Dude, I was in rehab 3.5 years ago, broker than a joke. And I found this opportunity because someone posted about it on social media. And you know what is wild is that person does not even work here anymore. And if they did, they'd probably make between $50,000 and $100,000 a month if they just didn't give up and they stayed in my hierarchy, right? But I found this business and this opportunity because someone posted on social media. So when people are saying, hey, you know, I don't want to post, it's not perfect, I don't look good enough, I look a little chubby, so whatever it is, post quality content from your $1,500 iPhone that everyone on this call has and consistently show up and communicate it in a way that resonates with people, or your tribe. They're going to find you if you consistently promote yourself. So I think first and foremost, if you're talking about building an agency and you are not promoting and exposing what you do on a day-to-day basis online, you're kind of missing, you're missing the point. Because you can pay for recruiters, you can pay for recruiting leads, you can do all of that. You can go recruit people at the gym. I've hired, I don't know, 15 people at my apartment complex alone. Like, you can do all those things. But what's happened over the last 3 years that I've consistently promoted myself and I've promoted my story overly transparently, talking about my issues with drugs and alcohol, sobriety, getting in the business. What I did is I told people, this is what I do. These are the leads that I run. This is how much I work. This is when I work out. This is how many dials I make. This is how much I spent on leads. Oh, screenshot. Here's my bank deposits. This is how much I made. So when you see that repetitiously, if someone sees that for a month, they're like, oh, this is, I don't know, that's too good to be true. This is a scam. But when you have a clear layout of, hey, I've gotten a gauge of this dude's personality, who he is based off him consistently posting. This is how often he works. This is how much money he spends on leads. This is his skill set, right? People can start seeing themselves doing what you're doing if you really lay out the roadmap, right? And so I think you got to be really transparent with people if you're going to be leveraging the social media aspect, so they can know, because you know, when people reach out to you is when they trust you. So how do you build trust? You be overly transparent. You talk about shit like your struggles with sobriety, or some of the L's that you take with win, or the L's that you take in the business, as well as the wins, which I'll go through that with you guys as well. But I think with building a team, I'm going to reiterate this one more time. Please, today, after this call, during this call, right now, whatever it is, please pull out your phone and at least make a story post on Instagram. And then there's the other side, the 80-20 rule. You've definitely heard people talk about this, probably on a builder's call as well. But if you guys go look at my Instagram profile, which I posted somewhere in the chat, if you look at my life, it's 80% personal life, 20% work, right? Post a picture of a sunset, post a picture of working out, post some funny stuff. Hey, boom, we're working. This is what's going on. So that people are not like, hey, Kevin, yeah, I don't want to follow you anymore because all you do is post stories about the deal that you just closed on insurance and they don't even know what it is. And it's like slightly dirty camera screen and weird lighting because you're in your house and you're like 1250 AP, and people are like, what is that? Right? But if you show the lifestyle and you break down the commission and you pull out your phone and you're like, Hey, you guys, I got into the life insurance industry. If anybody's sick of working in sales, vehicle sales, med sales, whatever it is, if you want to get involved in the business that I'm doing, this is what I do. This is how much I dial. This is how much I work. And this is how I get paid. Next story. Hey, when I get paid, this is the commission breakdown. When I set the policy to effective immediately, it takes about 2 days. And then I get paid. We get a 9-month advance and break down that deal. And then 2 days later, screenshot the deposit that you got, post it on your Instagram story. Like, what is better proof than that? And then also include, hey, this is how much I spent on leads. Because if you're posting that stuff and you're being transparent, guess what it's going to do? You're going to want to become more profitable with the money you spend on leads so you can show other people, right? It's going to set the tone. Hey, can I 10x every dollar that I spend on leads? It's going to make you want to be more accountable. It's going to make you want to be more consistent because I can only speak for myself. When we're talking about just us getting rich or just us making money, when it's a selfish thing, I don't know about you guys, but if I make $20,000 a month and it's just about me, like my bills are paid for, I'm cool, I'm good, I could kick it. But if you're talking about setting the tone for other people and showing them what's possible, it's like making 6 figures in a month isn't enough. And it's not even about the money. It's about setting the tone for the opportunity and what you can do. Like what is possible for some ex-criminal, ex-drug addict that got into the life insurance space that has no college degree. Let me raise the bar so anybody that has a similar story for me can believe in themselves because I'm not anything special. So whatever your story is, I think if you make it like you are the main character in a movie, and maybe the movie right now is a really shitty movie that's not super exciting, and it's the part of the movie where you're not on a winning streak, or maybe you are, whatever it is. But what does the main character do in that movie, right? How consistent are they? How often do they post? Do they set the tone for the people around them? Are they getting enough results where if someone checked your bank account, that they're going to be like, wow, this is crazy. I want to get involved in what you're doing. Because that's the most powerful thing. So set the tone, walk the walk, talk the talk on social media, and have the deposits to back it up. So no one can bank account check in. You're like, why do you want to see my bank account? Right. For me, I'm grateful and blessed to be in a position where, if someone bank account checks me, I'm like, hey, here's my deposits for last month, and I'm going to smile. I don't even know what they are. Right. But I know I have something to smile about because I set the tone. So I think that's huge. Yeah, Ria, set the tone, walk the walk, and the bank account. Walk the walk and talk the talk. I think that's super important. Not in a cocky, arrogant, egotistical way, right? I bought a Lamborghini and live in a nice place, and that's all cool. But I'm not like, hey, I'm cool guy or better than anybody. I'm like, dude, here's my story. This is how it went. This is what I did. If you want things like that or the freedom aspect and improve your relationships with family, this is what I did. Right. So I think when you're charismatic, transparent, and set the tone, it's huge. But I have a lot of things I got to work on for myself as well. So while I'm talking to you guys, I want to make sure to communicate. I don't have everything figured out, and there's probably a lot of things you guys could teach me as well. Next thing that I want to go over. So if you're talking about building a business, who has strategic partners or partnerships set up for referrals for agents with building their agency? Anybody? Okay, so if we conquered the first thing, we're all going to start posting on social media today, right now, post something about the business that you're in. The next thing is I would figure out some strategic partnerships. This would be more like when you're running life insurance leads, this would be running warm market recruiting leads to a degree, right? So for me, I set up relationships with one of my close friends owns a really nice barber shop. It's like a luxury barber shop. It's between like 50 and $100 for a haircut. So the people that roll through there are a lot of salespeople, real estate, mortgage, stuff like that. One of the best things I ever did was incentivize him to send me people that were, sitting on the barber chair complaining about the job that they have and telling him, hey, I'm looking to get into another job. He has 8 other barbers at his barbershop that all do the same thing for me. I have a great relationship with them, and it's ended up bringing me 20 different people that were either previously licensed or we got licensed and sold a policy, which I think is huge. So when you're talking about building a business, you can either pay for a recruiting service and post on social media and do stuff like that, or you can put some sweat equity and some creativity in building relationships like that, where you are going to have to be creative to find what those are for your niche. But as a man that's in my 20s, I couldn't think of a better place to find high quality people than a barbershop, right? Where they're airing out, oh, dude, I hate this job. I don't like this. So creatively think about that and then incentivize other people to help your success as well. He sent me multiple people. They started crushing it. Him and I went to Dior at Fashion Square Mall in Scottsdale, and I bought him a $1,200 pair of shoes, right? Where he's like, I don't even want any money, but that I like. So incentivize people to help you with your success because they got some buy-in. Maybe they don't even want any of the money, but I'm still going to make it happen and do that because people are helping me grow my business. And I feel like that's something I've not seen a lot of people talk about, but the amount of referrals you can get from setting up a strategic partnership that's incentivized is huge, right? If you know people at a roofing company that are high up, hey man, if you have guys that aren't working out at the roofing company, maybe just because of the industry or whatever it is, will you shoot them my way? I have strategic partnerships set up with people at captive companies where I'm like, hey, if you have somebody that falls outside of your model or vice versa, if I have someone that doesn't want to pay for leads and isn't the right model or the fit, I'm going to send them to my boy over at, I'm not even going to say the company, but I'm going to send him to a guy at a captive company that I like and trust. He sends me people as well. So I think when you're creative, the horizons get a lot wider and you start finding these areas where, oh, I'm going to acquire these three people. Oh, got into a new industry. But I think you have to be repetitiously doing that. And once again, getting the results where people feel confident. Like Liz, if she sent me somebody and is not in the industry, I have enough results where you feel confident enough where, hey, if this person's going to be successful, it'd be with Christo. Here you go. Here's my referral. So it goes back to walking the walk, talking the talk, and setting the tone. Another thing that I wrote down to go over is the culture, like setting the bar with what we're doing. So for you guys, Kevin and Nathalie, it's Nathalie, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not botching it. But both of you guys, I'm looking at you on the screen. When you think about building your team, and I try to envision myself like, hey, what does my team look like, feel like, sound like, operate like when we're doing $5 million a month, right? I need to envision that and become the guy that can manage that type of stuff before I can actually have that happen, right? It's not just going to fall in my lap. I've tried to do that and figure out the cheat codes and make it happen too fast. And we went, right? It happens at the right time when you become the man, the woman, the person. And I think with talking about culture, it comes down to setting the bar, right? Like people are going to do probably 50% or less of what you're willing to do. For me, that means I'm going to be working 13, 14, 15 hours a day, right? As often as I can. But when it comes to you guys, I would take a second and write a list down of what do you want your culture to be? How would you want a brand new agent to operate and have their schedule be? Like what type of personality are you looking for with people? How accountable are they? What time do they wake up? What do they what information do they consume? What podcasts do they listen to? Do they work out in the middle of the day or at 5 a.m.? Like what does that look like? I think going through those things and then having that mirror and spinning it right around and looking at yourself and being like, do I do any of this shit? Right? Of course we want all our agents to do it, but like it's like, do I do any of those things? Because I've had times where I do everything above and beyond, and then I got a little lackadaisical because I was making a little bit of bread. And then I had to snap right back into reality of like what got me to the point where I was feeling good, doing good, making good money, and helping other people do the same. And when I say that, that's the most important part if you're talking about building, helping other people do the same. If I'm the only guy with a nice car on my team, which is not the case, that's an issue. I need to spend more time and develop with other people. What are your non-negotiables when scouting, or is anyone fair game for recruiting and building? I have two answers for that because I was the guy that I definitely had a big smile on my face when I was getting into this industry. But like I had a horrible legal record, you know. I was just getting out of rehab. Like I it's not like I was the most sought after scout on the internet for life insurance sales, right? So I think the one thing I did have, and I've talked about this before, is the gift of desperation. Like my life got so bad that I was willing to do anything and everything as long as it was ethical and didn't hurt anybody to get my life back on track. So I had that blessing going for me. And so to answer your question, I think it depends. Like there's a series of questions that I really try to ask people. And one of these is actually from Zach, where he goes, you know, hey, if you drop $1,000 on leads and nothing works out and you do it again the following week and you don't get a sale, what are you going to do? And then you just shut up and listen to what they have to say. That's probably one of the better pieces of advice I've gotten from anybody, because it's just like asking someone the close question. You got option 1, 2, and 3. Did you want to try and qualify for the 40,000, the 30,000, or the 20,000? Silent. First person who talks first. First person who talks usually loses. It's not necessarily the same with recruiting, but I think you can gauge someone's personality and where they're at, because in reality, some people are at such a horrible spot financially, but have the skill set, the mindset, and the habits. They just don't have the money for the leads. So how do we figure out a solution for that? Well, if they're showing up consistently and the most consistent people on Zoom, in the office, whatever it is, I'm probably going to be willing to help those people. But if they're like, man, I don't have this and I can't get this set up and I don't got money to set up Ringy and this and that. Dude, I was that guy. I didn't complain about shit. I took the insurance license I had. I had one insurance carrier that everyone else denied me because I had a criminal history. American Amicable approved me, and I had $253 in my bank account. So I used sweat equity and was creative, and I sold 4 policies to people I knew and turned that into, I think my first week I issued like $8,600. And so when people understand, like, we have a license to print money and also protect people with great valuable products, I'm really trying not to cuss. There's the word track's not coming out without the F word, but if we have a license to print money and you're broke, why can you not go stand on a street corner for one day and make a funny sign and get one person to buy a policy, make $1,000 and spend 500 on leads, the rest on food, rent, whatever you need, right? Like I think if I lost everything today, and I'm getting off topic, but this is important because this is the personality type I'm looking for. If I lost everything today, I had no car, no money, no nothing, I would literally, if I had to, just go make a sign and go stand on Mill Ave in front of my house and be like, make some funny shit up about life insurance and get someone to buy a policy just from tenacity. And I'd get the money, I'd get paid, I'd buy some leads, and I would turn it back into $1 million. Right? So if you don't have that type of belief for yourself, like, we need to wake up and realize the opportunity that we have at hand, or your life just hasn't been hard enough. Because if people can't pick up the phone and rip some leads, dude, go look and Google the average income of a telesales agent, not life insurance agent, just a telesales person. Go look it up. It's like $32,000. You can be an ex-drug addict, ex-felon with no college education that is one of the biggest mess ups ever. And you can get an insurance license. You can start with one insurance carrier. And last year I deposited over 7 figures in my account. And I don't say that as a flex. I say that as a miracle. Like, my mom is so proud of me. And that's one of the biggest, most important things in my life. And to be able to financially shoot my mom some money. Hey, get a massage. Hey, do this. Like, that it's not about life insurance. It's about the opportunity and changing people's, excuse me, fucking lives. Sorry for cussing, Frank, Zach, whatever, but I feel like that needs to be said that way because this is so serious. So to revert back to your question, I mean, my non-negotiables are if people are complainers, and it's one thing to vent and then getting the solution right away just to get some stuff off your chest. But if people are complainers, they're focused on the negative stuff. I'm an overly optimist. I'm focused on the solution. You could punch me in the face. Frank, you probably know this. You could punch me in the face and I'd smile back at you all crazy. I'd be like, let's go. Right. Like I'm excited for the stuff to happen. Right. So I'm looking for people that can make it through tough times, not just the good times. When you're in Lambos and you got money and stuff like that, it's all cool. But who's here when shit hits the fan? And what does that look like? Who are those people? Who's around me? Who's got locked arms, whether it's good, bad, great, everything in between? So that's the personality type. It's not super specific, but they got to be able to sprint into battle with me, literally and metaphorically. But it used to be anybody. But I got training out of that and learned how to find the right people. Let's see here. All right. So one more thing on culture. The first 2.5 years while I was in this business, it was nothing but up. It was nothing but up. And then I experienced a downturn. I got some of my agents recruited. I feel like a lot of people won't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it in a positive way because it made me a better man. My prior manager about a year ago went to work with another company, hired some of my people. We had a downturn, which was a wild thing to experience, right? That's part of the business. Things happen like that. I also experienced a ridiculous amount of roll-up debt because I hired the wrong people that were writing bad business. And it was one of those fluke things that happened. And so I experienced from one of the highest of the highs. I'm like, dude, I'm about to call Frank. We're going to be at 3 mil a month. I had talked to Sean Mike. I'm like, by the end of the year, we're going to be at 5 mil a month. And I experienced a large setback. But because of the culture and the people that I had on my team, going through some of the biggest fears that I've ever had in this business, we ended up making it to the other side. And like one thing I'm super proud to say is making it on the other side. I've almost cleared out the roll-up debt from the guys writing sketchy bad business, which is not even something you guys have to worry about. I just made a bad hire, a bad decision. And we made it the other side. And last month we grew bonusable premium 46%. Right. So I kind of got leveled at the knees a little bit. And with my team and the culture that we have, that my team has helped me build, we've made a comeback, which I think is huge. So when you're talking about culture and having those people, and Nathalie or Kevin thinking about who you want to hire, are they people you would sprint into battle with? You don't have to like them every day of the week, but can you sprint into battle with those people? Do they have your best interests in mind? Can you make it through big life stuff? Right. So I think that's super big because I had some big life stuff happen and some big business stuff happen. And not everybody was solid on my team, but I found out how the people who are super solid. I found out the people who I want to be in business with for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So that's a huge blessing. So I think find those people, go through the good times, go through the bads, figure out who's got locked arms with you. The other thing that I put down is if you're looking at building an agency, money making activities, like that's huge. I'll be on Zoom, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, but the rest of the time I'm doing money making activities. I don't recommend this, but I'm driving, texting on speaker with my knee. I'm hiring an agent. I'm texting a guy to get another phone call, and I'm driving to a meeting that I need to go to where it's like, that's not smart. Don't do that. But that's money making activities. How do I make the most out of my time here day to day on Earth? I made a list of money making activities. So if you're scrolling on Instagram, not doing shit and watching funny videos where it's like this cat and this and that, like there's some quality content on Instagram, and I do get it. We dial a lot, we work hard. But if you're going to be on Instagram, at least leverage that opportunity and be messaging people at other companies. I mean, I think about how many people we just hired, people that work directly with one of the insurance carriers that we work with, one of the large ones. I'm not going to say the name. They are at 15% compensation working directly selling for that company. How did I find those people? Instagram. What am I going to do? I'm going to hire every single person that I can that's quality, that is at 15% compensation, and they're going to start with us at 80%, and they're the most jacked and excited people about it. Right? So there's a ton of opportunity out there, but you got to uncover it from doing money-making activities. MMA. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, money-making activities, whatever it is. Justify the fun that you're going to have by doing money-making activities so that 2 years from now, you can take a little bit of a break. You can take the pressure off your shoulders. But I'm huge on that. And I think we only have a certain amount of time on this earth. And this business is precious and the opportunity we have. So it's like leverage the vehicle that we have at hand. 2 more things to go over, and I'm going to set you guys free. Hopefully I'm not going too long, and I hope that you're getting some value out of this. But one thing that my mentor told me is, and this relates to sobriety, this relates to business, this relates to friendships, mental health, whatever it is. But when you think about a herd of buffalo, right, out in the elements, wherever it's at, the national park, wherever it's at, and you think about a large herd of buffalo or any other type of animal. Have you ever heard or seen on National Geographic a video or anything like that? Have you ever heard of a buffalo animal or anybody that's in the center of the herd get taken off by a wolf? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever seen it? I feel like it's a good reminder because people want to do this lone wolf thing in this business and sit at home and rip dials alone and not get on Zoom and not participate. But I think setting the tone for the people in your agency, in your life, when you are in the center of the herd, you're not going to get taken out by the big bad wolf. You're not going to get taken out by the elements, and you're sure as hell not going to starve or go broke, right? There's certain times in this business and this company that I've unplugged a little bit because I got so stressed. Guess what? I made less money. My quality of life was worse. And all of a sudden, when I pull out my phone and start calling dudes like Frank, and I'm like, hey, bro, I need some advice. Sean, Mike, I need some advice. Nina and Hayden need some advice. Whatever it is, my life starts to get better. I make more money, and I'm in the center of the herd. So you yourself have to set the tone for that and be walking, living proof of it. Because anybody on my team that does not work out, which is also a part of this business, they're on the outside of the herd. The wolf, boom, catches them, right? They freeze because of the elements, or they freeze because of financial insecurity and they don't know what to do. So I just want to remind you guys that's a good analogy, but anybody who is in the center of the herd usually does not get taken out. Last thing, and then I can either close this out or open it up for questions, but profitability. So if we're talking about building an agency, as much as I love issue paid volume, and I am beyond excited that I hope Family First Life cracks over $1 billion in issued premium this year. IP reports are important. Issue paid business is super important, but what really matters is what you deposit in your bank account and how profitable you are as an agency, right? If people get it twisted, the IP reports and leaderboards, that shit is awesome. You know what I'm concerned about? My people, how much money they're making and what I'm actually depositing in my account, right? And so I think that's huge, and that's something that everybody has to maybe have slightly a coming to Jesus moment, because IP, in my opinion, is ego. Even though it's important, it's relevant, it's growth. But if we're talking about business, what are we talking about? We're in business to be what? Profitable. So I think tracking your profit and knowing what your average spread on agents are, and coming up with a plan of, hey, if I'm going to build, I'm going to sell, I'm going to hire, I'm going to train at a high level, I'm going to do this juggling act of all of the above. How do I become the most profitable? How do I become strategic? There are people that are cranking millions of dollars a month, and I know I'm equally, if not more profitable of them. Maybe not millions of dollars a month, but you get the point that I'm making, right? Like if you're hiring consistently and you're hiring direct and you're going for width, it means you're going to have to work your ass off. It means you're going to have agents that are blowing up your phone 14, 15 hours a day. But what's the point of being in business? Change people's lives and be profitable. So I think the one of the key factors is training people on how to have a high persistency rate. You keep more money, they keep more money. We grew 46% last month in bonusable premium. If I could keep up those numbers, which is impossible, but it would be a wrap. But I hope to grow, 10, 15% bonusable premium a month. But with that, we had a 95% persistency rate. So that's what I'm most proud of. That means people are writing business properly, and we're profitable. But when you're talking about being profitable early on, let's talk about the comp grid. So I hire people at 80% compensation. If you want to be at 100, you need to write 20,000 2 months in a row. If you want to get up to 120% commission, you need to write $40,000 2 months in a row, non-negotiable. So if you're a new agent, whether you're at 85, 90, 95, 100, whatever it is, wherever you're at, I would look at the compensation grid and figure out first and foremost what you need to do and how much you need to write personally to be able to get your compensation as high as possible, so that when you bring new people in, let's say you write 50K 2 months in a row, you're at 120% compensation. Now you're hiring people at the starting comp at 80%. What's your profitability every override that they sell? Off every, you're making 40% because you worked your ass off and you scaled and got to the highest point that you can get off personal production. So now when you hire people, guess who's more profitable than any manager at captive agencies or these other companies that are very for the manager? Now you've just finessed the system by working your behind off to be one of the most profitable people in the industry. And as you continue to raise that and hire direct, and as those people that you hire make more money, get results, their compensation goes up, well, you have more volume coming through your business as their compensation goes up. So you're going to be making the same amount of money. As theirs are going up, you're going to be hiring new people direct to you. I would hire them in threes if you can and get them trained up at the same time. Have some friendly competition. But in order to do that, if you're talking about hiring people, drop in the chat how many people you would have to hire to actually have 3 people start at the same time. Study material, license, whatever it is. How many people you think you have to hire? Savannah, 10. That's pretty on point. I'm going to shoot for 15 just because to get them all to start at 3 at the same time, I'm probably going to have a couple people have some personal stuff go on. Some people are going to extend their study material, whatever it is. So I would say between 10 and 15 to get them 3 at a time. And so I'm thinking of abundance because we set up their study material. Not everybody's cut out for this. Everybody knows how much money you can make in financial services and how profitable it can be, but not a lot of people actually follow through and do that. So what I do is I'm overly abundant. I let people get through their study material, pass their tests, and I'm like, now let's have a serious conversation after I've gone over the initial recruiting call. And we do company overviews on Zoom every 2 weeks. I have all my agents funnel those people in. I break down the opportunity, go through some of the stuff that I just went through with you guys about, hey, if you're broke, this is what you need to do. If you have no money for leads, sell a couple policies, get them set up with the study material and see how many people can actually make it through. Because everyone yaps and they're like, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to come over from solar and I'm going to be your best sales guy. And I'm like, dude, you haven't even passed your test. It's been 2 months. So I think when you want to build a team, you got to not be emotionally attached to what people do, how they do it. And you got to abundantly hire so that you can ultimately cherry pick the people that you want to work with. You guys kind of pick up what I'm laying down? Because if you have 3 guys and you're like, dude, I'm counting on this guy getting his license and he ends up not getting his license, what are you? You're crushed. Oh man, I had expectations. I put expectations on no one. I'm going to make that shit happen regardless. Whether you're on my team, you're in my family, you're one of my friends, I'm going to get it done regardless. And I mean that with the most love and respect. But we can only count on ourselves. And so if you're overly abundantly hiring and not super emotionally attached, get the people through the door that pass the test, that are motivated, that are consistent, and spend time with them when they start and work in person with them or on Zoom, one-on-one or 1-on-3, and give them the excitement. Pass on the opportunity and the experience so that they're fired up. Get them paid in the first 48 hours, right? Like you want people to stick around, get them paid in the first 48 hours, and you can help them with that, with setting expectations of what they need to do when they start. Let's see. Some questions. What's my tracking process? Do you message your agents like how much you made today? Or do you have a master sheet that they upload to? Are you talking about my tracking process for agent income? Or what do you mean? I'm missing a part of that on there, Savannah. Oh, other than social media, where are you recruiting? So I use straight up Instagram. I just turned 29. I'm feeling like an old guy. I don't even use TikTok or Twitter or anything like that. But my entire agency, every person that has ever been hired on my team is through Instagram. And if it wasn't directly through that, it was uh uh indirectly through that because someone I met on Instagram. So what I do is when I'm going through that, I am like Flintstone age type shit. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I just add people in and their info on there, and then I go through and update it and remind myself to circle back to them for anybody that's a legitimate prospect. So Instagram DMs, once they're serious, give them my phone number, get them on an overview call, and I add them to my Excel spreadsheet. And then I just have a huge file of a couple hundred people that I've put together over a couple years. And I think as you do that consistently, you build a bigger and bigger pipeline. Give us an example of how you post on IG. Video word track. I don't know if you missed that initially, but I kind of fake pulled out my phone. But it's an accumulation of a couple things. It's an accumulation of my lifestyle, my consistency, me showing that I'm at the gym, I'm accountable, me talking about my life and sobriety and being transparent. But I think I'm bringing that up again because then when I pull out my cell phone and I say something like, hey, if you're in vehicle sales, you're in solar sales, you're in this type of sales, or if someone's in solar, hey, if you're sick of submitting X amount of business and acting like you make $40,000 a month, but actually depositing 10,000 because none of the deals went to install, reach out to me. We have an opportunity. It's high ticket sales. It happens to be life insurance. We're mainly involved because it's high ticket sales. And I think just figuring out word tracks to be able to do that or reaching out directly to people, sparking a conversation that's not super corny. And then my favorite thing is, hey, Vernon, are you open to switching jerseys or having a conversation about doing so? It's kind of relaxed. It's like a joke, like, it's a joke, but it's also serious. Are you open to have a conversation about switching jerseys? I think that's huge. Someone hit me with that, and I was like, I like this. I might get on a phone call just because this guy's creative enough. I'm not going anywhere, but I might get on a phone call. Um, but I think, Vernon, for you, pull out your cell phone mixed in with, hey, I'm at the gym. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm having some fun listening to some music. Hey, here's my family. And then, hey, this is how I live this lifestyle. If you're interested in getting involved and you work in these industries or you're in sales and you want a better opportunity, I would love to break the system down that we have. Reach out to me. And then remind people on a daily, weekly, monthly basis why they should be working with you based off what you're posting. Like it's attractive. The photos are clean. Your life is improving. That's the biggest thing of results that people decide themselves are results are the biggest results in recruiting tools that you can have. I have people message me and be like, bro, I've watched your life change over the last 3.5 years, and it is absolutely incomprehensible for me to realize like what you're doing. And I have so much more to go. I don't even eat that up like a ego fest, but like other people watch it and they see it and they're gonna hire themselves onto your team. So I think that's the best thing you can do. Um, let's see here. What do you do to keep that your persistency? So I can't even take accountability for that. So it's not what I do, it's what my team does. And that means we all cement the sale and we made some adjustments to our process with that, but we're not soft closing people. We're like, hey, Nathalie, before we submit this policy, I take my job seriously. So I want to make sure that you fully understand X amount of premium, X amount of coverage, this type of policy. Before I submit it, that 128 and 37 cents is going to be in your account in the next 1 to 3 days. Yes. All right. Do I have your full permission to submit this and try to get you approved? Boom. And just closing it down a different way where I think a lot of people on my team have started sending out cards, incentivization to clients as thank yous for, it's over 2000 AP, stuff like that, where you're building more of a relationship. But I think persistency is what we're all after. But I think cementing the sale, providing the value and having clients engaged and having them write down the key factors to the policy so that when someone tries to replace your policy, one, you place them with the best product that they can qualify for. Two, they know their premium, everything that it entails, and you built a relationship with the client. Let's see. All right. It's 9:52. Can you talk a little more on a bad hire? What are some red flags? So I currently do not have an office, and I should have an office, honestly, in the next 30, 60 days, and I should have had one for the last like year or so. But when we're talking about working on Zoom and people don't want to get on Zoom to a new career that they have been communicated, hey, we're going to be working on Zoom, you're going to be unmuting, like the expectations have been set so that we can train them and teach them how to sell insurance. If they won't get on Zoom, if they won't work a schedule, if they won't unmute, they could be great, awesome people. But the only people I've ever had write bad business or have horrible persistency, you know what they don't do? They don't get on Zoom and they don't unmute. So I think with hiring, some of the red flags initially, it's hard to catch right out the gate, but you can gauge someone's response to the question that Zach gave me. Hey, if you bought leads and you didn't get the results that you want, and then you bought leads again and you didn't get the results, what are you going to do? That's a good gauge. Watching them do some of the things you ask them to do, how quick they set up their study material or their test, how quick they complete it, stuff like that. Those are key indicators that you can look into. I don't overly go into that because until they've gotten their license, I'm kind of just like, dude, let's get you through the door. But the red flags are when people tell you they're going to be the best and they don't get on Zoom, they don't show up, right? It's really hard. So let's see here. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, of course, Savannah, that was a good question. I'm going to say one last thing. Vernon, your question about the Instagram, I think just, I mean, it's not like I'm a marketing coach. I ran a marketing company from 19 to 25, but I think just being authentic and transparent and like let people know what's up. Like no one needs to be cocky or arrogant, but like let people know what's up. This is what's happening. This is how I've changed my life. This is what's going on. Talking about it is one thing, showing it day after day with proof is awesome. What do you do to keep that persistency? So I don't necessarily do that's what I was saying. It's my team. I can't take credit for that. It's just because people sell accountable business. So if you have that level of persistency, like we were 91% the prior month and then it went up to 95%. That's just everybody being more accountable to their sales process and not doing the, hey, let's see if we can just get you approved and then the client canceling. So I think it's running more accountable business. It shows that people are maturing in the industry and it's not even something that I can take accountability for. It's the people on my team. What were some of the non-negotiables when balancing work and sobriety when we were just starting in the business? Ooh, this is a super good question. So I go to 12-step meetings, no matter how good my life's got, how much self-control I think I have or whatever it is. I go to 12-step meetings. I've, consistently gone to therapy on and off for the last couple of years because I've needed to go. And so I think the commitments that I made to myself, hey, I'm going to go to 12-step or AA meetings or NA meetings or whatever it is. I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I am going to help other people that have the same problems that I do for free, right? I'm not going to charge for that. I'm not going to do coaching. This is how you get sober and get your life together, right? If I want to, participate in that, someone get involved in my business. But I think the core fundamentals of me keeping my life together were having a really legitimate mentor that have been through the same struggles I had, working a consistent schedule, making commitments and following through with my commitments, whether I felt good, whether I felt like cooking myself, whether everything was great, holding those commitments. And the biggest thing that I've struggled with in the past are when things are really good, that's when I normally drop the ball. When things are rough, you can bet on me every time. But when I've started to make a lot of money, life gets really good. get a little lackadaisical. So for me, what I found out is I need to consistently go to 12-step meetings. I need to work out every single day, not even to look good, just to mentally feel good and be consistent on that. And then as long as I was doing those things, the mentor that I had was like, dude, you're in your prime of your life. You don't have kids. You need to be working your ass off and you need to be leveraging every second that you can. So I'm either helping somebody or I'm doing money making activities, helping someone or MMA, baby. And so I think those are the things where you either got to dive all in or, figure out what you actually want out of this business. But you can't get 100% of the results when you're doing, 60% of the work. You don't know what is in between that 40% of you making $1 million, right? So, all right, folks, it's 9:57. I probably was only supposed to rip for half an hour, but I want to say, if you guys are on this call, please start posting on social media. I had you guys make a list of 3 to 5 things that you've been putting off doing. Please get a couple of those done. I'm going to drop my Instagram in the chat here. Shoot me a message when you get those things done. And I think that here, let me actually put it right here. So shoot me a message when you guys get those things done. And dude, it's the beginning of the week. Let's have a kick-ass day. I think the weather's heating up, business is heating up. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to make some money, and it's a great time to set the tone and bring a lot of people in this business. So, Zach, thank you for having me on this call. Could not be more grateful to be in the position that I'm in and fired up to see where things go. But thank you guys for jumping on. Have a wonderful day.